Hey everybody, Kamen here, and I'm going completely off the cuff on this, no script, no nothing, so if I repeat myself or if I stumble over my words, I apologize ahead of time. This just came to my attention. So, on March 8th, which at the time of recording this would be yesterday, there was a video uploaded on the official White House channel on YouTube. I have a screenshot of it on the screen right now. Violence in video games. It's about 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes long, and it's a video that's showcasing, well, what the title explains. Violence in video games. Although it should be noted that most of this comes from Call of Duty, like 90% of it. Hell, we even got the infamous airport scene that people complained about a few years ago. I want to draw attention to this because this video is unlisted, and if you go to it now, you can see that the dislikes completely eclipse the likes. About a week ago or so, Donald Trump came to a very interesting conclusion. I don't remember the specific quote right now, but I am working on a video where I do bring it up. But he essentially said that there's violence in video games, and there's a correlation to it in real life. I did not realize that we were back in the 90s.
Dude! Of course.
We've already had the discussion about violence in video games. We've already seen studies. We've seen people talk about this. We've had Congress. We've had courts rule on this. It just baffles my mind how people can just go back to this. I know history tends to repeat itself. I get that. But history repeats itself when people do not learn from it. Another video that I'm working on is actually highlighting that a whole bunch of kids are destroying video games because violence is bad, and that violent games are bad. And I mean, there's a lot wrong with that video that I'm covering. Not just the fact that these kids shouldn't have M-rated games because they're supposed to be grade schoolers and middle schoolers. And we're not talking digital, we're talking like physical copies that they had to buy from a store. I mean, they're not even allowed to do it, so it's the parents' fault for buying them in the first place. But I'll save that for the actual video, but my point is, this has got to stop. You can have a discussion about video games and violence and sexism and all that jazz. You can. But this sort of thing is stupid. It's just dumb. I understand that this is a rant. I don't have a lot of evidence to back it up. But then again, neither does the White House in this video. All it is just propaganda and a means to an end to cover up tracks and to create a scapegoat. That's all I see it as. Because if you watch the video, there's no context to the scenes. They're completely taken out of it. They just string them all randomly together. I honestly don't know what to say about this anymore. This is just a short little ramble video. Not a lot of editing. No script. Me just going off the cuff. I do have other videos planned, and I actually want to put effort into, but this is something I want to talk about. I know that the government is dishonest to a means, to an end. I honestly do. This is just me trying to highlight the issue, highlight this video, because considering that a whole lot of things in our government, especially in the last couple months, especially with like the net neutrality thing, where it's been kind of shown and proven that they stole people's identities to get something passed and didn't even bother to listen to the American people. I want to bring attention to this. These are our elected officials, and they're not listening to the people who gave them their power. I know that's not the same for the FCC since they're appointed, but it's still something I need to talk about. It's still something that needs to be discussed. As a guy who grew up with games, a guy who has seen the debate between, do video games cause violence? As someone who has been, born into the video game culture and has been playing ever since he was a little kid, my experience is no. I know you can call me biased. I know you can say it's anecdotal. I understand that. But then again, we've already had this discussion talking about how video games cause violence. They don't. There are studies out there. There are court cases. And just to see people just throw it out the window, it's really disheartening. What's worse, I've actually come to expect it. This is a culture that I love. This is a culture that I've poured many times into, that I've made friends with over, that I want to see grow and expand and become... I don't know, I want to see it become more. I want to have discussions about how video games can impact our culture, but this is a discussion that has so much going against what the White House is trying to portray. It just makes me glad that I put down a third candidate for president at this point in my life. Oh, you want to know who I voted for? I voted for...
Oh my god, he just ran in.
I've rambled on for enough time, but... So, I want to ask you guys. What do you think on this whole situation? Is the White House just trying to make a new scapegoat? Am I blowing this out of proportion? Am I don't know. I guess this is a peek into what you can see me as when I'm just going off the cuff without a script, without any actual thoughts going on. But whatever. I'm Kamen, and remember to examine your fandom. Kinda wish our government would actually do that too.